The war in Ukraine has come just as the world is being threatened by a global food supply crisis. Among the worst affected countries, Somalia, where drought and crop failure threaten a new famine.
Streams of people coming in still across, the dusty terrain. They're carrying all their possessions on their back. They've got kids and animals in tow. They are fleeing from the worst drought-affected areas.
Obviously, there are a number of factors leading to this crisis, but how much is Ukraine's war playing a role in this?
Food prices were already soaring due to livestock deaths, due to cereal crop failures. But the big concern now is that Ukraine is just going to exacerbate this, make it so much worse.
The war in Ukraine threatens to turn crisis into catastrophe for hundreds of millions globally who depend on its grain. Last year, its grain exports fed 400 million people worldwide. As we filmed in Ukraine last month, millions of tons are now trapped in the country. Its ports stand idle. The world was already facing a food supply crisis, but Russia's invasion of Ukraine is making it much, much worse. With all these Ukrainian ports on the Black Sea now blocked, the UN is warning that 47 million more people will face acute hunger across the world if the war goes on. The latest UN hunger report has added Afghanistan and Somalia to its list of the highest alert countries described as facing catastrophic conditions. They're marked in red on this map. Those with deteriorating conditions include all of these countries in orange, including the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Sudan, Syria, and Kenya has just been added to the list because of its dependence on grain imports. These countries in yellow, like Sri Lanka, Zimbabwe, Angola, Lebanon, are described as areas of concern. Ukraine itself has now been added to that list for the first time because of what it's going through at the hands of Russia's invasion. But Russia isn't bowing to mounting international criticism.
Let's be honest. The Kremlin is using food supplies as a stealth missile against developing countries.
Russia isn't just blockading Ukraine's ports, it's accused of stealing its grain too, caught on satellite loading it into ships in the ports it's occupied. Places like Kenya that depend on grain imports face soaring food prices on top of drought and crop failure. The mass suffering caused by the war in Ukraine is being exported far beyond its borders. Dominic Waghorn, Sky News.